Good morning, dear students. I hope you all are fit and fine. Listen, today I am going to teach you lesson number 16 of SST chapter. So, without wasting time, let's start the chapter. Lesson number 16, India wins freedom. As you will open the book, then you will see that there is a get set. In the get set, there are 5 questions which you have to answer. The first question is, in which year did India become independent? The answer will be 15th August 1947. The second one is, who was the first Prime Minister of India? Obvious, everybody knows the answer. That is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Who was the third one is, who was the first President of India? That is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And the fourth one is, who composed the national anthem of India? Yes, that is Rabindranath Tagore. And the last and the fifth question is, what is our national song? Yes, that is Vande Matram. Okay, students. So this was just get set, which I have told you all the answer. Now I'm starting the chapter, that is, the Indian National Congress achieved success during its early years. The leaders of the Congress at this time were known as the moderates. So this is the term moderates. Dadabhai Nauroji and Gopal Krishna Gokhale were moderate leaders. They believed in pleading with the British government to bring about reforms. Reform means change. Gradually, there grew another group within the Congress. They were called the radicals. So in the Congress, Indian National Congress, two groups were formed. First one was the moderates and the second one was radicals. They wanted to oppose the British strongly. Both the groups aim was same. But their methods were different, but both the methods were different. They were in favor of strikes and boycotts. Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal, that is also called, there is a very famous line that is called Lal Bal Pal. Okay, Lal means Lal Lajpat Rai, Bal means Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Pal means Bipin Chandra Pal were the three popular leaders of the radicals group. There is a very famous line which is very famous among all, especially that is called Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. This quotation was said by the most popular lines by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Now after this I'll explain you about that what happens in India. So here that is partition of Bengal took place in 1905. The British decided to partition Bengal, one part to have a largely largely Hindu population, while the other part was have to Muslim. So this was a policy of Britishers that they have just divided India, especially it is called the partition of Bengal. They partitioned Bengal and one part they have given to the Hindus and one part to the Muslim. Have a Muslim majority. The partition was an attempt to prevent Hindus and Muslims from uniting against the British. People strongly opposed the partition. The Congress launched the Swadeshi and the boycott movement. As a result, the British were forced to reunite Bengal in 1911. So, 1905 to 1911, what happened? So there is a very big, very famous movement that is called Swadeshi movement and boycott movement, which I am going to explain you. So Swadeshi means one owns. One owns means that is Swadeshi means apne desh mein, own country. The movement aimed to popularize the use of goods made in India. People were asked to boycott all foreign goods. They made huge bonfires of foreign made goods. A large number of women and students joined the movement. The government tried to suppress the movement. What happens then? After that, there is a group which emerged, that is the revolutionaries. Some young people in Bengal, Punjab and Maharashtra felt that the moderates and the radicals had not achieved enough. So this was their thinking. Apart from radicals and moderates, one more group emerged, that was revolutionaries. These revolutionaries believed that the British couldn't be driven out of India only through force. They were willing to sacrifice their lives for the country. Ajit Singh, Aurobindo Ghosh, Khudiram Bose and Veer Savarkar were the early revolutionaries. Some of them were later arrested and hanged. Now here I am going to tell about the Gandhiji's life history. Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, he was born on 2nd October 1869 in Porbandar. His father's name was Karamchand Gandhi and mother was Putli Bai. In 1883, he gets married to Kasturba Makhanji Kapadia, which later known as Kasturba of Ba. Because from the Kasturba, he was famous for Ba. She was famous for Ba. 1888, he went to London to study law. In 1891, returned to India, started a law practice. In 1893, travelled to South Africa, spent the next 21 years there. In 1915, when he returned to India from South Africa, what happened? See, in 1915, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi returned to India from South Africa. In South Africa, he had fought against the racist policies of the white rulers. His method of fighting, known as Satyagraha, was based on two principles: truth and non-violence. After returning to India, Gandhiji travelled across the country. Now I am going to tell you what happens after 1915. In 1920, Gandhiji launched non-cooperation movement. In 1922, he withdrew the movement, sent to prison. In 1930, led the Salt March, which started the civil disobedience movement, which I will explain you later, but still I will give you the idea. What happens in 1942? He launched the Quit India movement and sent to prison. This is a very famous movement in which Gandhiji was also arrested. In 1946 to 47, traveled to different parts of India, spreading their message of peace. And at last, in 30th January 1948, Gandhiji passed away in New Delhi. Now listen one thing. After returning to India, Gandhiji travelled across the country. He was shocked by the poverty. He decided to fight not only the British but also the prevailing social and religious practices, especially the caste system. He asked people not to obey the unjust laws of the government. Dear students, after this, the next portion is to be continued. I will explain you in the second part of this chapter. Thank you, dear student, for listening it patiently. Please read this chapter and for the better understanding of the chapter. Thank you once again.